Hello and welcome back to the show, everybody. Or if it's your first time, welcome. Welcome to All Over the Place, where chaos meets incoherence, where insanity meets insignificance. I don't know. I'm trying to get like the alliteration or the assonance, as they call it in English, you know. I think my English teacher would be proud of me. And English, man. English was one of my favorite subjects at school. I really think I enjoyed it. I was fascinated by language in general, you know. And I think it's because that's kind of what and who I am in terms of how I think and what goes on in my brain. You know, everybody thinks in images and video plays in your mind. But for me, like when I think, it's all words, it's all sound, it's verbal, it's literary, it's all that, you know, it's words and it's speaking, you know. And that's kind of how my thoughts are, like, you know, it's like instead of videos, it's voice notes. That's that's the best way to describe it. But the way I explain it is obviously gonna be in like a visual way, because I am not because it's difficult to explain. It's complicated, right? So I think I've explained it before. Imagine you're in a room full of different TVs, and on each TV is like something interesting is going on, you know. And that's cool. That's really cool. Especially if you're trying to focus. It's awesome. It's awesome. Like, you know, we should really be focused on this, but look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. But it's not looking at that. It's like listening to that. So it's actually even worse. It's not even like, it's worse. Like, imagine many different sounds are happening and you're trying to focus on all of them. That's what it's like to be in my head, man. That's what it's like to be in my head. And you just go off on a tangent. For example, I was still speaking about English and now my brain is all the way over there, you know. But anyways, I think the reason why I enjoyed English was because it's fascinating how languages work, man. It's fascinating, like the differences in how language is used and how expressive one language can be in certain scenarios versus how expressive a different language can be in that same scenario, you know, just to compare the two or the three or the four, whatever. So I always found that interesting, man. One thing I didn't find interesting at all was poetry, you know. But later on I got into it. You know, I won't say I'm like, you know, too into poetry, but I find it like it's a very interesting way to use language to express oneself, you know. Of course, poetry cannot really be confused with rap or with, you know, just writing good lyrics to a song, you know. That's a different thing. Poetry is its own beautiful art form, you know. And I remember a few years back I got for my birthday this book, you know, and I didn't even know that Tupac was a poet. Have a look at that. He's got a whole book of poems, and this book is titled The Rose That Grew From Concrete, and the first poem that's in here is called The Rose That Grew From Concrete, and it's subtitled Autobiographical. So I assume he's talking about himself, but I just like reading this poem is like, you know, that like it's almost like I can relate in a way, you know? So let me read it for you. The rose that grew from concrete. Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Proving nature's laws wrong, it learned to walk without having feet. Funny it seems, but by keeping its dreams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from concrete when no one else even cared. And, you know, I love that. I love that because I can relate. I feel sometimes you do feel like that, like, you know what, no matter what happens, I will get through this. I will persevere. I will live through this situation, you know. And I can think of many instances in my life where this was the case. But the beginning was the beginning, dude. From the time I was born, that's been happening, where I've defied, like it says, the laws of nature, you know. And I don't like talking about myself. I'm joking. I love talking about myself. I don't know what that says about me as a person, nor do I care. I don't want to know. Sorry, I'm just adjusting this microphone. I can't wait to hire someone to sort all this stuff out, because I'm a total amateur. You know, someone who can do video for me, someone who can do the sound stuff. That would be cool, because now I feel like every time I move, I'm just bumping this thing. Anyways, I should have probably checked this before I started. Let's do this. Yeah, that's gonna be less of an issue. Here we go. So my birth story, I think, is a cool story, man. And I was born prematurely. It was just like, I couldn't wait, dude. I couldn't wait to get into the world. I had to. I had to come out. Like, you guys are not gonna tell me to wait. Screw that. I'm coming early. I'm coming out. And there I am. And obviously, I'm clearly not ready for this. which has been a recurring theme in my life, where I do something and I'm not ready for it, dude. I'm not ready for it, but I persevere. You always figure it out in the end, don't you? But anyways, so, because, like, for example, I remember I had just started learning to play the piano, man. I must have been 7 or 8 years old, 9, 7, 8, 9. And I remember my parents, would buy these CDs for me. And at the time, it looked like CDs were probably going out of fashion, dude. Or just nobody wanted to buy these particular CDs. And I don't know, if you're from South Africa, you might remember years back, dude. This might be 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Yeah, probably 15 years ago. Where you go to Pick and Pay, right? And there by the till, there's a basket. Like, that bargain basket, like where they sell little, marked down items. And there was a whole bunch of CDs in that thing. And I was like, these CDs are R5. That's incredible. So I'm just sifting through them. And I'm like, okay, Bach, Chopin. These are names that I know because I listen to, piano music and all that. Or I want to listen to piano music. But anyways, I know these guys play piano. And then I took Tchaikovsky. And I didn't even know what was on the CDs. I just took it. Beethoven, Bach, Tchaikovsky, Chopin. And there was a couple of Bach CDs. There was a couple of Chopin CDs. There was Beethoven, Mendelssohn CD as well. It was orchestra music for the most part, but two of them were piano music. Cause like Chopin was mainly a piano composer. And and such beautiful music changed my life. Opened a door to a universe that I didn't even know existed. But it awakened this weird ambition in me. And it's really an unreasonable, almost arrogant ambition, And I was listening to this piece. It's called Fantasy Impromptu in C# minor. And go and listen to that thing and tell me if an 8-year-old can play that piece. Because I had just started learning the piano, dude. And I was like, I'm going to learn to play this. Please, mommy, please print it for me. And she did, wow, that's the wonderful belief that parents have in you, But so she printed it for me, and I was like, I can do this. And then I saw the music, and I was like, I definitely can't do this. I mean, it's almost 20 years later, right? And I still can't play that piece, dude. I still can't play that piece, but I'll try, and that's just been that's just a recurring theme in my life, where I'm clearly not ready for something, but hell, is that gonna stop me? No. Another piece of evidence to that point was this show. I was not ready to do this. I did not have the right equipment. I didn't have. Hey, did I press record? I did. Oh, thank the Lord. Imagine if I hadn't. Did I press record on the camera? Yeah, I did. I'm just making sure, sometimes. Yeah, wouldn't that be terrible? An utter waste of time. But anyways, sorry you had to see that. I'm sorry for the children. Anyways, so what was I saying again? Oh yeah, I was not prepared. Not prepared. I wasn't ready to do this show, but I was done waiting to be ready. Forget about it, man. You know, and that's just like I said, a recurring theme since birth. I was not ready to do something, but I freaking did it, son. Anyways, and you can take that. You're welcome to take that. I take it as a life lesson. It's if I ever have someone of the younger generation or my own offspring, and they ask me, "Father," they American, "Father," what? I don't know why they say father in America, but okay, "Father, I need advice." Well, my son. I'm also American. Well, my son. You just gotta go on and do it. Whether you're ready or not, just go and do it. You know, my American accent's not great. And it's like, "Father, are we really American?" It's like, "No, we're not, dude. We've never been there. I don't even know why you talk like that. Are you even my child?" Just those kinds of conversations. But anyways, veering off topic once again, just a whole swerving off the road and into space. Because when you fall off the road, you go into space. That's just how it works in my brain. I don't know how it works in your brain. It's probably more logical, coherent, and makes sense. But my brain is utter nonsense. But it's okay. You're still on board. Hopefully, if you're still watching, well done. Just go and like and subscribe if you haven't already. But what was I saying again? Oh yeah. So I was not ready to be born into this world. I was not ready to play Chopin's Fantasy Impromptu in C sharp minor. Was not ready for that. Was not ready to do this podcast. And yet, here we all are. Here we all are, dude. I'm still not ready to do this podcast. It's filming on a phone. I would have loved it to be with a camera. I don't have a camera, I only recently got this whole setup, so it's like, obviously things are progressing, but there's no way I'm waiting for things to be ready, man. And that's just me. That's just how I was born into this world. But anyway, so back to the poem, right? The rose that grew from concrete. And it is like a very, for me, another reason why it relates is because when I was born, and I was not ready to be born, but I needed to come into this world, dude. I needed to do that. Absolutely. And lots of complications. I was not breathing. I needed to be on a ventilator, assisted breathing and all that. Very, very small, So obviously things weren't looking good. And then there was just a certain time had passed without any oxygen reaching my brain. And anyone who's a medical professional will say, "Hey man, this kid is going to be brain damaged." And that's exactly what they told my parents. This kid is going to be brain damaged. He's not going to lead a normal life. He's going to be special needs. He's going to be disabled. All that stuff. And it was just not an option, It was not an option for me. Why on earth would I show up early and just not be able to handle that? And I handled it. And that's the Lord, praise God. PG. And yeah, I am, dude. You're not gonna tell me otherwise. I think part of what makes life exciting is just that we expect certain outcomes based on information, and sometimes it surprises you. That same doctor was so surprised when I walked in as a grown man, and I was able to talk to him. Many, many years later, and it's such on the off chance that I would meet this guy. What are the odds? But anyways, I forgot what his name is. But so, yeah, and so my birth was against all odds anyways, right? There was a time during the labor, I would say, that the doctor told my father, "Hey, listen, we might only be able to save one of them. Or should we save, the mother of the baby, or should we save the baby? And then he, took him against the wall. That's my father. He's an absolute beast, and he says, "You better save both of them." And I was like, "Wow, that's awesome! That's awesome!" And you know what? The doctor managed it. And again, that's the Lord, man. So I believe, okay, I might be completely delusional, but I believe that I have a destiny to fulfill. I believe that no matter what is standing in my way, whether I am starting my journey underneath some concrete and there's a crack in the concrete, somehow there was a crack that came, and that's just the Lord cracking the concrete open. And there I am, a solid rose. A rose, beautiful, but painful because it has thorns, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't call myself beautiful, at least not on the outside. I don't even know about the inside, to be honest. I've never seen my insides, nor do I want to, get a little camera to. I can't think that that's beautiful either. But anyways, we're missing the point. The point is that circumstances have never, ever prevailed. I have always prevailed. And I believe that that's the Lord saying, there's something for you, man. You need to keep going. There's a big thing that you need to achieve. There's a big thing that you need to get done. There's something that you need to do. You have a purpose in life, You have a purpose in life. So, and I believe that's true for everybody. Maybe you don't have a great purpose, and maybe I don't either. But you do have a purpose. And I think that if you allow circumstances to be like, oh, this concrete, I can't grow. Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. Why not? Why can't you? Are you really gonna think that you are not made for this? And the thing is also, right, most of the time, we don't give up when things are impossible. We only give up when they're slightly inconvenient. Like, what? That's ridiculous, man. That's utter nonsense. We can't live in such a world where, at the slightest chance of an inconvenience, we already say, no, I can't. No, I don't want to. No, I'm not gonna. And so, yeah, what am I saying? Don't give up. You have a destiny. And I believe in that, man. I believe that we have free will, we make choices. I believe also that we have potential. And I believe that potential is inextricably linked to our destiny. However, you can ignore your destiny, meaning you can ignore the opportunity to reach your potential, And I was thinking about this past week, because this past week on Monday, I finalized my university application, and it was nerve-wracking, It took me so long to fill out that university application. It took me weeks, whereas it should have just taken me like 15 minutes, But I did it, man. And for some reason, I don't know why it was so scary, but as soon as I got done doing it, it was so like, oh, finally, It was this huge relief and excitement all of a sudden, that totally replaced the fear, And I just kept telling myself, you have to do this, because I was doubting. I was like, man, should you do this? You're 10 years older than what you would have been had you started this journey, Like, why did you wait so long? Maybe it's not your time anymore. Maybe you're too old to be an aspiring musician, And then I was like, telling myself, nah, man, too much time has been invested in you to be where you are for you to just end it here, So it's like, and that's what takes me back to the rose that grew from concrete, because everybody's had difficult circumstances, and through all that mess and chaos and mud and disturbances and obstacles, throughout all that, my parents have paid for me to get a music education, to receive formal musical training. And the teachers that I've had have always been so invested in what I am and what I do, that as teachers should be. And I was just like, you have to do this, Xavier. This is your destiny, you know? Because you know what it is also? It's my single biggest regret. It's my single biggest regret to never have gone to go study music. Instead, choosing paths that were clearly not my paths to take, you know? And then what happens when it's a path you take that isn't yours? You get lost. You get lost. You get depressed. You get anxious. You lose your sense of purpose. You lose your identity. And only once you your actual path, because for some reason you find your way back, man. You find your way back, and you just like you just end up back on track, and you're like, now I'm good. Now I feel great. Now I have no regrets. you know, and now I can even look at not taking that decision in the first place 10 years ago. It really is 10 years ago. Not taking that decision 10 years ago has resulted in me developing a work ethic, a discipline, a sense of duty, of responsibility, the ability to organize, to manage my time, to be able to say no. I can't do this thing. I'm not going to do this thing because I have this to do. You know, the ability to prioritize. Because when you're that age, you say yes to everything, or you say no to everything, depending on who and what you are, you know. So I think over these past 10 years, you know, if I reflect, I'm just thinking, wow, man, it's really been a wild ride so far. And it's nice to go on your adventure. you know, it's the longest gap year in history. I went to go get another qualification that merely interested me, but it could have been anything because I find most things interesting. And it just wasn't worth pursuing, to be honest. Like at the end of it all, I just ended up with a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of regret, and student debt, obviously. You know, because we do this. There's this reprehensible thing that at institutions of higher learning do, where they see that you cannot afford an education, but they will basically make it possible for you to have an education, provided that they can take advantage of your future earnings. It's an absolute mess, you know. Did you know that a student loan is the only loan that you cannot declare bankruptcy on? Like, if you are dead broke, guess what, dude? You still have debt. That's insane. That is insane, dude. Like what a negative impact on your net worth, you know? And that's an important thing. It truly is an important thing. Your net worth is something that you need to, you know, I won't say focus on, but you definitely need to take care of it. Make sure that it's growing, you know? Because life gets expensive, you know? The housing market, you know, has been growing for a long time. The price of houses, rather, not the housing market. The housing market is kind of done like a sort of a flatline thing, but we're not going to get into economics right now. But basically, the price of housing has gone up steadily, right? I won't say the value of a home. It's not like that's a different thing. But the cost has gone up, and average salaries have been the same. It hasn't gone up as well, you know, even accounting for inflation. So it's like there's this thing where the further ahead in time we go, the less chance you'll be able to afford a home, which is important. Everybody needs to, you know, own some property, man. Jeez, like it's just. But why actually? Why do you need to earn? Why do you need to own a property? Maybe you can just rent a property. I don't know. Maybe it's just one of my core beliefs, man. You know, from childhood, some conditioning that took place where it's like, now you must have a house, you know. But yeah. So, anyways, where was I going with this? Okay, yeah. So, but throughout that adventure of picking up anxiety and depression, you know, some student debt, it's come with experience. It's come with understanding, you know. It's come with the wisdom that comes from experiencing life, the ups and downs, the ins and outs, the lefts and rights. I don't know, all those things. That's what's happened, and it's become an exciting journey. It's become a journey, a story to tell. And what could be better than a story? When you listen to a piece of music, especially a classical piece of music, there tends to be a story, whether it's obvious or not, whether it's clear or not, whether it's intentional or not. There's still a story, there's still an adventure where you end up maybe in the same place you started, you know, or you end up in a better place. You start all dark and dreary and scary, and then you end up in this beautiful place, But that's not really how adventures work, right? If you watch any sort of hero adventure or whatever story, most stories have a sense of adventure in them. It's always that the character starts doing something, goes on a journey, right? And there's a call to action, right? Call to action. There's a reason that this hero must go somewhere, must leave his or her comfort zone and go there, wherever there may be, to go do something important, right? And it's not a perfect journey. It never is. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an adventure, right? There are obstacles that must be overcome. There are maybe a villain or two to defeat. Or, sometimes, and this is the coolest ones, is where you have to encounter yourself and your own weaknesses and your own shortcomings, and you have to traverse them. You have to get past yourself, man. And that's normally the boss level, And I believe that life has the cycle where you need to do that repeatedly. So I'm just reflecting. I don't know why I've been thinking about this. I guess it's just because I submitted my application, and the last time I did that was 10 years ago. So I'm just thinking back to that time and how far I've come, how much has happened, so many experiences I've learned when it comes to romance and romantic relationships. So much I've learned when it comes to family dynamics, to loving your family and building friendships. Like, so much is like it's been incredible. It's been an incredible journey over the last 10 years or so, man. And obviously, as time goes on, I will still drop more stories here and there about that. But it's actually incredible how this happens, man. Like the passage of time, huh? It's fascinating. Like, you watch this, and you watched last week's episode a week ago. How much has happened in that time, It might feel like nothing has happened in that time, You might be able to look back at last week and be like, oh, that was almost like yesterday, because nothing much happened. Or you could look at it as like, wow, that was a week ago? That's crazy, Because maybe it's like, it felt like forever ago, because so much has happened. And I guess that's, the philosophical side of the relativity of time, because time flies when you're having fun, and it stands still when you're bored. When you're truly engaged in something meaningful, you don't really notice the passage of time. And I would suggest, find something to do like that. Find something to do that causes you to not notice how time is passing. And normally it's something creative, but it doesn't have to be. Maybe you like to plant, vegetables. Maybe you like to, I don't know, play with puppies, or maybe you like to, shave sheep. I don't know what you like to do. You're weirdo. But I think it's like maybe an antidote to some of the more poisonous aspects of life, some of the more venomous aspects of life. Because in all honesty, life is not perfect, man. Nobody's life is perfect. But when you are able to do something for 2 hours or an hour or 3 hours and not notice the passage of time, it means that you are fully engaged, And that takes you away from the nonsense, from the unnecessary nonsense that we encounter on a day-to-day basis, And speaking of that, I've really tried to sort of clean up my life, And it's difficult. It's easy to clean your room, right? You're like, okay, here's clothes on the floor. Pick them up, put them in the laundry basket. Okay, the floor is dirty. I need to sweep it. I need to mop it. Great, that's clean. Okay, my bed a bit disorganized. I, sort that out. It's a bit dusty. I just need to wipe everything down. That's simple. But cleaning up your life, that's a huge challenge. And one of the things I stopped doing was, one of the things I've sort of cleaned up is investing emotionally in everything. I don't do it anymore. I invest myself emotionally almost none of the time anymore. And that's when you realize, like, wow, have I been really wasting so much of my time and energy on things that don't actually matter, Because you have to really ask yourself, does this matter? Is this important? If it's not, then leave it, dude. It's not important. Like when someone cuts you off in traffic, like, I have a new word now. And I wonder if I should say this, because just now I want to say it to you, and you might not, maybe I don't want you to know what it means. Whatever. This is what it is, okay? So when I'm driving, or I'm taking my sister to school, or I'm taking my brother or my sister to their music lessons, or I'm running some errands, or whatever, and there's a person who maybe does not drive in a safe way. They drive a bit recklessly, they're taking chances, or they have a complete disregard for the safety of other drivers or their passengers or whatever, sorry. Bit of a late night last night, innit? And so you drive and then you encounter, such a person. And obviously you might have a word, it's a P word, or it's a F word, or it's a, and I just call them my guy. Like, how people say my guy, you are my, like, listen, my guy, chill, but for me, I'll be like, my guy, just like a long way. And it's great. And the reason why it works is because in my heart, I'm swearing at this person by saying, my guy, look at that, my guy over there, And, when other people are in the car, especially with children, like my sister, she's a child, she says it as well, And it's a fun word. It's like taking, instead of using a swear word, and that's how kids learn to swear. They learn it from their parents. Or from their, senior caretakers or whatever. And, so instead of now swearing, instead of this kid picking up a swear word when a bad thing happens on the road, or my guy comes through, then she learns this word, my guy, I think that's awesome. I think we should rebrand all swear words like this, Like, oh, fiddlesticks, like... Like if you drop your phone and it breaks, I don't think you're going to be able to have that kind of self-control, I'm sure, because it's devastating. We depend so much on technology. It's ridiculous, man. And, I was thinking about this the other day. How we have phones, right? You have a phone. You're probably watching this on your phone right now. Or listening to this if you're on Spotify. Hello, baby. And it's like... the feedback, there's time between the input and the feedback, right? So when I have to do a Google search, or I have to unlock my phone, open the message, read the message, type a response, and send, there's a lot of feedback in between those things, right? A lot of time that's being used. So just got the chills there. My room is very cold. It's ridiculous, and that's why you hear my nose like this, because it's like you could keep snow fresh in this room. Honestly, you could keep meat fresh in here. You could make ice cream here. Honestly, you could keep dead bodies in here, bruh. It's gonna be just fine. No one's rotting here, especially not me. You know, hell, I might be a corpse if I stay in here long enough. But anyways, what was I saying again? I don't know. I don't know what I was saying. I was talking about rebranding swear words, and then after that, I was. You know what, dude? It's gone. It's fine. It's fine. It'll maybe come back to me as I keep going on. But let's have a. Sorry, I just want to check the time quickly. All right, we're still good on time. I actually have a watch on, but it's got the wrong time, and I keep forgetting to reset it. You know, this is a thing that ADHDers have often is watches that aren't on the right time, and broken watches because you're always bumping things. It's funny. I have like 7 broken watches. You know, maybe I should just like not get a watch anymore, dude. Like these things, or maybe get a watch that's like, you know, hardcore, that like you can't break me even if you tried, you know. And that's how I feel sometimes, you know, just unbreakable, son. Try me. Oh, you can't. Oh. You know. And I really feel like the rose that grew from concrete, man. Yo, Tupac is a very interesting character. You know, Tupac was 25 when he died. I think he was 25. 25 years old when he died. Just look at that body of work. How many albums this guy put out. How many songs he's written. And at 25 and he's no more. Isn't that insane? Like, most people take their whole lives to put out that much work. But that's also the thing now. It's a common theme, and I wonder about this. This is something that I'd love to ask the Lord one day, you know, when I meet him. Or hopefully I'll meet him. Yo, just now I meet the other guy, you know, that guy. And I don't want to meet him ever, you know. He can suck my toenails. I didn't want to say that. I wanted to say something else, but anyways. So, oh, yeah. That's one of the things I want to ask God, right? I want to ask him, listen, how come so many people who are super creative and really manage to put out an insane amount of work, how come those are the people that die early? What's up with that? You know? Because I wonder, is there a relationship when it comes to the universe? Is there a relationship between how much creativity you have in you and how much time you have left on this earth? And is it possible that the more creativity you use up, the closer you approach death, or the faster you approach death? Is that possible? You know, I just have such questions. I tried to ask AI that, and AI was like, don't be silly. And I was like, whatever, you don't know nothing. But it's fascinating, you know. Like there's so many examples of this, you know. But obviously, like, I'm not gonna include drug users. You know, I think that's a severe illness. Addiction is a severe illness that people have that can lead to death, you know, through overdose. So I won't count them really, because it's more self-inflicted, you could say. You know, even though it's much more complicated than that, you know. I really don't like it when people look down on addicts. You shouldn't do that. Would you look down on someone who has schizophrenia? Would you look down on someone who's severely depressed? Would you look down, like literally manic depressive? Like, would you look down on such a person that has an illness? Would you look down on someone if they have asthma? There are people that do, though. Yeah, you weakling. You know, I always think that when my brother like takes his asthma pump, I'm like, yeah, you weakling. But obviously, it's just a joke. I don't actually think he's weak. It's just funny to think about, and I like thinking about funny things. And what else, man? What else? No, wait, not what else. What was I talking about? Yo, the way that I can just not find my way back from a tangent is it's astounding how I'm able to do this. But what was I saying now, man? Oh, I feel... Okay, I was talking about how creativity linked to early days. I was talking about addiction. addiction is an illness. Okay. I think if you put people in jail for using drugs, it's like, why don't you heal this person? This person needs healing. They don't need rehabilitation. Because once you heal them, they're probably not going to need that thing again. And I do understand that rehabilitation programs work. I truly think that that's super important. But if you don't heal that person's thing, man, whatever the thing is that causes them to be like, I wanna inject heroin into my body, like, whoa, dude, whoa, that's take it easy, bro. Yo, that's a severe thing, but it's an illness. And even someone who's like, I'm gonna drink until I pass out, and I'm gonna do that every day. It's like, no, you should not do that. This person is not normal. Okay. Find out what's wrong, help them. It's literally a cry for help, and that's what addiction is, man. I don't understand why we live in a society where we promote compassion about everything except when someone puts stuff into their bodies. Like, it's ridiculous, man. Like, it's getting cold in here. I actually can't wait for the time to pass. Come and see how much time is gone by. Oh no, I almost stopped recording. Let's just check here. How much time? Okay, we're in 40 minutes. All right. Anyways, I just don't want to go over time anymore. I'm trying to be very aware of keeping the how can I say, keeping within an hour, less than an hour. I don't want to go too overboard with it, because I can do this for 3 hours. I just don't have the time. But anyways, so we should stop treating that. Why does our compassion end with self-inflicted suffering? Isn't it more concerning that people suffer by their own doing? Why do we not feel sorry for them as well? Why don't we want to help them as well? Yeah, it's his own fault. Like, no. Maybe it's not. Maybe that person has a rough childhood that caused them to be drawn to the pleasures and the comforts of substance abuse. Like, let's think about that first. Maybe they have a different biology in here that causes them to be in a constant dopamine deficit. And maybe they know they crave that, and this is the one thing that helps them. Maybe this person has severe trauma, and the only way to get through a day is to use that. Let's just apply some compassion, some understanding. Because life is not easy. Life is not simple. It's all complicated, And something else I encountered this week, and it's really disappointing, actually. Like, sometimes you have people in your life, maybe it's a leader of yours, maybe it's a friend or a colleague, or maybe it's just someone that tells you that they understand your situation. They say, I understand, but this and this and this and this. It's like, oh, you don't understand, because what you're saying is contrary to the statement, I understand. You know what I mean? And the thing is, if you're going to say but, that's literally, what is it? You see, now my English teacher will be very disappointed in me, because I know what that thing is. I just can't name it. But basically, it's I almost had it. It was like it wanted to, and it's like back in. But anyways, when you say but, and I say but a lot, I like big butts and I can't. That was just an intrusive thought. Anyways, I say but a lot. That's not what I'm saying. When you say but, you are going contrary to whatever is said before. So it's like, I really care about you, but no. I'm really happy for you, but I really understand, but this and this and this. No, you don't, dude. You don't understand. And it's come during a time in my life where I have to prioritize certain things. My number one priority is my family, because I, along with my brother, am responsible for them. So it's gonna be my number one priority no matter what. You can argue your way through that. You can be like, well, I deserve some attention. Or this needs your attention. It's like, sorry, dude. Family comes first. Family comes first. And if you neglect your family in service of anything else, what are you doing, man? I understand the position of someone who really works hard for their family. They work hard so that they can earn more money, so that they can take better care of their families. I understand that. And then in the process, neglecting them. It's a sacrifice. Totally understand that. But everything else, no, dude. That is unacceptable, So yeah, man. Don't tell people you understand if you don't understand. If you're not willing to empathize, because that's what it means. When I say I understand, it means that I empathize with your situation. I sympathize with you. I have put myself in your shoes, and I have found that yes, it's very difficult for you to do this thing that I expect of you, while also having to prioritize this and this and this, That's what it means to say I understand. But if you just say that and then you carry on, no. It is not good. It is not good. And I guess that's just how some people are, man. They just say things so that you can serve their needs, even though their needs are not a priority. Or their objectives, it's like, well, what are we really doing here, And yeah, I guess that's also part of growing up, is also understanding that some people are not out here for you. They're out there for themselves. They have their own objectives. They have their own agendas, and sometimes you're just a tool, And sometimes it's okay to be a tool in service of others, but if you're just going to be used, regardless of whatever's happening in your life, without any regard for what's going on with you, I think that's unfair. So, yeah, I almost want to say psychopathic. Manipulative. It's manipulative. It's not psychopathic necessarily. Although it is a common tactic of psychopaths, And I don't know that. They say, what is it? 4%. 4% of people are psychopaths on average. It's about 4% in any given group, 4% of them are gonna be. So if you have 100 people, dude, 4 of them are absolute psychos. If you have 25 people, 1 of them is a psychopath. And that's interesting, man. Isn't that interesting? I've always been fascinated with that. And they call it abnormal behavior. That's what it is. And I think they probably rephrased it because psychology is still such a new field of study. It's one of the newest fields of study, truly. Like when it comes to human beings and understanding the unconscious mind and understanding how it drives, understanding motivations. Oh, that's the same thing, really. But, and philosophy kind of gave birth to psychology. That's why I love reading Nietzsche, because he's so deeply insightful when it comes to humanity and especially morality. He's focused a lot on or rather, maybe just the one I'm reading right now, Beyond Good and Evil. That's right here. Beyond Good and Evil. It's basically, he says a lot about morality, and he says that in order for us to actually move forward as human beings, to really be our best selves, to really become a free spirit, as he says, or rather to become the individual. He's promoting individuality in this book, is that we should all have our own ideas of morality. Not our own ideas. No. I'm ruining the explanation here. He says that we should all use our own judgment to decide what is right, what is wrong. And that's why it's called Beyond Good and Evil. Because we have everything in the sort of binary category. It doesn't make sense, right? For example, I don't know. I don't know if I'm even saying this right because it's so complicated. It's very difficult to read Nietzsche, but from what I seem to understand is that part of what he's talking about is that we seem to just want to join the herd. We want to join the herd mentality. We want to be like sheep. We want to be just this homogeneous thought. You're just a small part of the, but you're an individual. And those who rise above that instinct of wanting to join the herd, those are the ones that get to lead the herd, So it's not necessarily a bad thing. And it only becomes bad when that level of control or popularity or dominance becomes self-serving, Because he even criticized, obviously this was written in the 1800s. He criticized, big church organizations, specifically the Catholic Church, but I'm sure it applies to most others as well. Where the Catholic Church, the Pope had his own army, he had his own army, dude, where he would, literally, whatever war is happening, he'd be able to join that and serve certain purposes because there's plunder. And when there's plunder, you have the profit of all the gold and treasures that get plundered. It's interesting. There's a lot to read on that, but yeah, I could also be wrong. I don't know what I'm saying. Don't take the words of an idiot seriously. And anyway, so he's talking a lot about that, about how it can be an almost psychopathic thought process when you are part of the herd, right? Because when you join the group, when you engage in groupthink, something that George Orwell mentions in 1984, groupthink is a thing. It becomes dangerous because then the group decides, because there's no responsibility. So you take away the individuality, but it's also a bunch of individuals thinking, and acting. But when a group of people does something absolutely terrible, you can't hold individuals responsible, So that's what's being taken advantage of, actually, is that you use the group, use the herd to do reprehensible things in service of, in service of yourself without any repercussions. And that's what's dangerous about it, right? So you have to really think about, do you want to be part of the herd? Do you really want to be part of the herd? Because if you are, then you're opening yourself up to be the type of person that does something horrible without any repercussions, I'll give you a good example, and this might get me thrown off YouTube, dude, but I don't care. I'm honest about this stuff. I watched a clip of Jordan Peterson, who I'm a huge fan of. I admire his work very much, and a lot of my adult years have been influenced by him and his ideas and the things that he's taught and shared. And if you don't know who he is, please look him up, man. It's absolutely worth it to go and check him out, because I guarantee he might just say one sentence that might help change, your circumstances or your outlook on life. But anyways, he had a conversation with Elon Musk, and I know for years he's been wanting to talk to Elon Musk for a long time. And Elon Musk said that, I think his son had some developmental issues. I'm not actually sure about the whole story, but because I'm a really bad listener anyways, I'm an idiot and a bad listener, not a good combination, but anyway, so he says there that his son, he was made to believe that the treatment that his son needed was puberty blockers for a certain issue that he has, some certain develop. Now, I don't know if his son died. I think he did. I'm very poorly informed on stuff like this, man. I don't pay attention to the news, okay? I don't know what's going on in the world, all I know is that, Joe Biden is no longer going to run for president. And that's not a surprise, man. The guy's super old. Anyways, so he said there that this whole woke movement was part of the reason why his son ended up dying. I think his son did die. And it was this woke movement that was responsible for influencing his decision to give his son puberty blockers. Because he didn't know at the time, but puberty blockers were sterilization drugs. Meaning that if this child was given puberty blockers, when that child is grown up, he will not be able to have children, and that's like our number one instinct as human beings, besides self-preservation, is reproduction. So you're basically ruining someone's humanity by sterilizing them, dude. It's absolutely horrible, and he said since then he's been at war with the woke, and that's just one way that the woke can be dangerous. I read about another story. There's this lady who wrote a book, published a book. I really want to read the book. It's super interesting. It's called, I must get this name right, at least the name of the book. I forgot the author that wrote it. It's called Irreversible. I think it's called Irreversible, or Irreversible Damage, right? And it's basically her study on, the whole transgender, thing that's happening in the world, where there's a very small percentage of people who truly feel that they don't belong in the bodies that they have, right? And they undergo a certain process to change that to become who they feel they actually are, which I think is perfectly fine. The problem is that there's a lot of people out there who are mentally not okay, right? Who have been influenced by groupthink, and they'll be like, I'm also that person. And then because of the insecurities involved in not actually being what you say you are, to say, oh, I am trans as well, you go and shove that doctrine, and it is a doctrine, down everybody's throats. And then some people are gonna just tolerate it. Some people are just gonna be like, whatever, dude, carry on with whatever, or ma'am or sir, whatever you prefer. And some people are gonna push against it, right? And because there is a psychopathic narcissistic thing here, call me what I want to be, that's narcissism. Come on, man. You have to give it that, because like someone who is actually transgender is just going to be polite about it, like we all are, like my name is Xavier. Okay. I get called Xavier, that's my nickname, and then there's a lot of people who are actually transgender or non-binary or whatever. And if they say like, hey, listen, you can call me this, right? And even if I make a mistake, there's still a level of forgiveness. But all these other psychos out here, you say the wrong thing, it's like, it's insane. It's insane, dude. And what you do is you make that whole movement look bad. It's pretty incredible how narcissistic people can be. But anyway, so that's the level of groupthink. Anyways, yeah, I was talking about this lady's book, Irreversible. And she basically did a bunch of research and interviewed a lot of people who were influenced into thinking as children. Influenced as children, man. And you know how impressionable children are. That they are in the wrong body. And there's laws in the US, especially in the US and Canada, that if a child, I think from the age of 9, feels that they are not in the right body, can have gender reassignment surgery to change their gender, right? And that process cannot be reversed. So what happens, and this is what the lady reported, so many of these people that did this during their childhood, during their teenage years, reached adulthood, and eventually most of them ended up committing suicide because they realized what a huge mistake they made. A lot of them ended up resenting their parents for even allowing this thing to happen. But their parents have a good argument to say, hey, listen, the law says that if my child needs to be this or wants to be this, then there's nothing I can do. My hands are tied, And I think that's pretty evil. So here's the thing what I'm saying, okay? If you want to be part of the group, you are going to be jointly responsible for the evil that takes place within the group, from the group, right? And what Nietzsche is saying here is that you need to now, because you think what you're doing is good when it's actually evil. And what Nietzsche is saying is that's why we need a non-binary, ironically enough, a non-binary approach to morality, right? Where the grays, it's different shades of gray, And it's going to be that it depends. It all depends. Is this bad? Is it bad to kill? Yes. All right, it's bad to kill. Is it bad to kill in self-defense? No. Well, there you go. There you go. It's not evil to kill someone in self-defense. It's evil to kill someone who just because you want to kill them. You see what I mean? So when it comes to right and wrong, we really need to examine that, Why did I bring this up? But anyways, I've been reading Nietzsche. It's a trip. It's a real trip. You have to be really awake. Like, I can't read Nietzsche if I'm tired. Like, if I'm feeling like today, there's no way I'm going to read Nietzsche. There's no way. Even playing chess, I can't play chess when I'm tired like this. And I am a bit tired. But yeah, let's see how are we doing on time. We just passed the 60-minute mark. So yeah, that's what it is. A bit of a dense episode. Sorry about that. But yeah, anyways, how do I close this off? I'm trying to think of a nice way to round the show off. Yeah. The rose that grew from concrete, guys. That is, be that rose that grew from concrete. Because you've also had difficult circumstances. Why do you think you are not special? And I think in the previous episode I did say that you're not special, and you shouldn't think of yourself as special. But what you should do is you should also realize that you are fortunate, and you should use that fortune to your advantage, because it's not just your advantage, because our lives are all interlinked. If I do well in life, my family also benefits, and if they do well, that influences everybody else as well, to do better and influence each other. So there's a big relationship there. So yeah, I love how I can be, talking nonsense and then some cool stuff comes out of my head. That's awesome. But it's not actually out of my head. It's a result of a lot of different influences and experiences. But yeah, cheers to 10 years, hey? Cheers to, signing up for university at the age of 28. It's I don't know. I felt so scared, and now I'm proud of myself for doing it. Not proud of myself, but I'm relieved that I decided to do it. That's all I can say. I don't think I can ever be proud of myself. How are you even proud of yourself? Pride is a deadly sin. So how is that even possible? But anyways, be good to yourselves. Take care, and what can I say? Just if you are doubting yourself, dude, just remember that you grew out of concrete. Maybe not you, maybe someone else, but definitely me. And Tupac, me and my bro Tupac. But anyways, take care, be good to yourselves, and don't forget to think of me when you use the toilet. Goodbye.